Okay guys, welcome back once more to the Bleed Train. I had to bring you guys back again because this probably is the most insane and OP bleed build when it comes to broken PvE weapons. Up to this day after patch 1.07. Yes, I'm talking about the Moghwyn Sacred Spear, which has ridiculous powerful weapon art. People hate it or love it because spamming it can destroy every mob and boss with ease and really quick. In patch 1.07, the only nerf it got was a reduction of range of the damage animation trigger on other players, with the damage still the same and pretty much everything else for PvE. So I'll show you its power, of course, but adding some flavor to it with melee combat, which is very good damage wise, and will help avoiding the repetition use of the skill. So without further ado, let's get this crazy train on the road and let's kill some stuff. Game on! I was very reluctant to try this weapon, but had suggestions in the channel to do a build around it, and I knew I didn't want to play with a skill spam weapon all the time and all the playthrough, so I made a few modifications to the playstyle and found out that the melee damage of the Moghwyn Sacred Spear is pretty good and can take care of mobs pretty easy with a few combos. You can do a light attack thrust, a charged strong thrust while using the shield, a slash after rolling, running light thrust, and a running strong thrust that will charge for 3 attacks, which is really sweet. So as you see, it has a really good variety on the movesets. So let's check the weapon out. It's a great spear with the Blood Moon ritual skill that we'll talk about in just a bit, with physical and fire damage that scales C with strength, D with Dexterity, and C with Arcane on a max level weapon with Bloodlust buildup of 92. Not bad. It has the longest reach of all great spear, which you need to take advantage of while playing against regular mobs. But against bosses and crowd control situations, you're gonna use the Blood Moon ritual skill. What it does is a vertical stab movement up to 3 times, creating explosions of blood in an AoE fashion, doing massive amount of damage. The last thrust will take more to recover, and at the end of the skill will coat the spear with blood flame, dealing fire damage and bloodlust buildup, and mostly scaled with Arcane than strength, so it's a no-brainer that we play with an Arcane strength build. You can obtain this weapon by first killing Moghwyn, Lord of Blood, at the Moghwyn Dynasty Mausoleum, and trading the remembrance of the Blood Lord with Enya at the Round Table Hall for the spear. You can get it really by mid-game, but all the talismans you need are found past mid-game up to late game actually, so you will need those to make this weapon shine. With the weapon out of the way, let's talk about the armaments you need on this build. You can run with this weapon only, but to avoid the spam and the skill and the repetition, I threw a good 100% physical negation shield to do a thrusting motion with the shield up at all times while engaging on regular mobs. Remember that the Ash of War in the shield should be the nose skill. Next, I got a dagger to buff with Golden Vow Ash of War if you want, and any seal to buff Flame Granny Strength. I wanted a heavy armor to increase poise to avoid being interrupted while casting Blood Moon Ritual, and to my surprise in patch 1.07 the majority of armor's poise got increased even more. So I'm going with the Firemonk Hood for fashion, Crucible Tree Armor, the Crucible Gauntlets, and the Crucible Greaves. I had a 53 poise in patch 1.06, and now in 1.07 I got 66 poise. I know it's not gonna be much, but it's an increase. This build is a mid to late game, but if you plan to create this build from the start, you need a class that has high Arcane with decent strength, so playing with a Hero, Confessor, or Prophet, it's good. Like I said before, the most important attributes are Arcane, Strength, and Vigor as always. Before looking at the attributes, if you find this build helpful so far, please don't forget to hit that like button to get this video to more people. Thank you and I appreciate you all. My character is a Rebirth Vagabond, so the attributes you will see might differ from yours if you're playing with a different class. For a level 50 character, you want to spend your points in Strength first rather than Arcane and play with Strength-based weapons so you can do decent damage and progress in the game while building the points that you will use later. Remember that this is a mid to late game build, so the attributes should look like this. Vigor at 30, Mind at 15, Endurance at 15, Strength at 30. At this level you meet the requirements for the shield and the Sacred Spear. Dexterity at 14, Intelligence at 9, Faith at 9, and Arcane at 7. For a level 100 character, you need to start spending on your Arcane and ease on the Strength points. So when you get the Sacred Spear, you go all out on Arcane. So you want to spend your points like this. Vigor at 40, mine at 18, endurance at 18, strength at 35, dexterity at 14, intelligence at 9, faith at 15 to be able to use flame garment strength, and arcane at 30. For a level 125 character, you want to spend your points like this: vigor at 45, mine at 18, endurance at 18, strength at 40, dexterity at 14, intelligence at 9, faith at 15, and arcane at 45. For a level 200 character like mine, the attributes, you should put it like this: vigor at 60, mine at 30, endurance at 31, strength at 40, dexterity at 14, intelligence at 9, faith at 15, and arcane at 80. So the talisman you need for Moghwyn's Sacred Spear to shine are this. First, the Lord of Blood Exaltation that raises attack power by 20% for 20 seconds when bloodlust occurs in the vicinity. It dropped from the boss Esgar, Priest of Blood in Leindale Catacombs and Leiden Capital. Next is the Fire Scorpion Charm that increases fire damage by 12%, increasing damage of the Bloodboon Ritual and the melee fire damage you do, but increases physical damage taken by 10%. It's found on a wooden platform to the west of Fort Lade in Montgelmir. The next talisman is Shard of Alexander that will increase attack power of skills by 15%. In particular, Bloodboon Ritual. It dropped from Iron Fist Alexander after completed his questline. The last talisman is the Great Jar's Arsenal that will raise the equip load to be able to use heavy armor, to have more poise to avoid being interrupted while casting the skill. It's a reward for completing the Great Jar's challenge when you defeat 3 NPC duelists in Dragonbarrow. For the physique flask, we got Flame Shroud and Crack tier that will increase fire attacks by 20% and last 3 minutes, stacking with the Fire Scorpion Charm to increase even more the fire damage of the weapon. It's dropped by the Earth Tree avatar in the Minor Earth Tree in Caelid. It's the Earth Tree on the left on the map. Second is the Opaline Bubble tier that will create a bubble shield around the player, negating any hit. It's dropped by the Earth Tree avatar in the Minor Earth Tree in the Whipping Peninsula. This tier will greatly help to avoid interrupting when casting Bloodboon Ritual the first time while engaging a boss. So now the buff sequence for challenging fights, we'll use the dagger with Golden Vows of War that will increase attack power by roughly 12%. The Ash of War is dropped by the mountain Godric Knight on the cliff southwest of Limgrave. And Flame Garment Strength, that is, this incantation will increase physical damage by 20%, stamina recovery speed lasting 30 seconds, and fire damage by 20%, increasing the damage of the weapon and the skill. It's found in Caelid behind Fort Gale on a body between 2 mechanical flamethrowers. So having all those items working together, this build with the Moghwyn Sacred Spear is super broken up to date after patch 1.7. It's not as repetitive as much, spamming the skill again with every enemy we encounter, but although there were some nerf around bleed builds on this patch, it's still king of damage in Elden Ring. Maybe in the future patches they will tone down bleed or buff other status effects or affinities to go to par with bleed builds. If you found this video helpful, please help me out hitting that like button to get this video to more people, and subscribe if you don't want to miss any new videos about Elden Ring. If you have any questions or tips that you want to share, do so in the comments down below. I'm linking up the other bleed builds that I've tried and are super powerful, like this one, so don't sleep on them. As always guys, be safe and see you on the next one. Ciao!